Welcome back to the Bob Fu Report. Happy New Year to everyone. Today I want to discuss about a zero COVID to unlimited COVID. That's the Chinese Communist Party is engineering from the Christmas season toward the end of the year. So a drastic change in Communist Party's policy and stand to the CCP virus. And as we had talked about it in the past 3 years since the CCP unleashed this virus, the CCP's response is typical. Basically, always try to taking advantage of any all crisis. So again, when the COVID started, the Communist Party, led by its dictator Xi Jinping, took a stance called zero COVID, and which means basically the whole country had been pretty much locked down, and even in a dynamic way, surgical way in different districts. And then after Xi Jinping was elected or selected for his third term as the Communist Party chief, by breaking the norm and becoming the president for life in November. And suddenly, of course, the Chinese democratic protesters went to the street, partially because people are fed up and they could not really live a life anymore. So all of a sudden, the zero COVID policy overnight in middle of December was demolished quietly, and from zero COVID policy to basically unlimited COVID. So, of course, we all know the Communist Party, this is very typical for its regimes. They're only capable of harmful ideological extremes. Remember during the so-called dynamic zero COVID policy time, and the Communist Party had much less reported cases, but the casualty is the human rights, religious freedom, and basic fundamental freedoms of citizens. And people were locked in their own homes, and to the point, actually, in the late November, early December, and in the capital city of Xinjiang, or East Turkestan, where the concentration camps are being established, many people even died at their homes because of this lockdown. And one incident caused, the Communist Party said 10 people, but some other sources even said as many as 40 people died in a fire, basically because their homes, the citizens' homes, were being totally sealed, and the fire, the workers were not able to get in timely to rescue, and many homes basically in China, all over China. I mean, has essentially turned into prison cells, and many elderly people died, and many even the pregnant women. We have heard many cases. I mean, so one story showing a pregnant mom was blocked from entering into a hospital to deliver because basically she was seeing a lack of a COVID test, and the baby could not wait, and she had a delivery right in front of the hospital on the road. And so essentially, many experts on China feels the Communist Party chief Xi Jinping, instead of the tackling the COVID with this zero COVID policy, basically this policy has turned into national surveillance by using the COVID health app and other measures. So, of course, all the churches were being shut down, and there is all over the nation, the cities, they were cracking down the movements of people, and it looked like, we have less reported cases, but all over China, people were basically treated as dangerous prisoners. So the whole China became the world's largest concentration camp, basically. And the same time, the Communist Party brag about it, and Xi Jinping, in the party's 20th plenary session of Party Congress, brag about it, said, China has the world's best response to COVID-19. And of course, that triggered the nationwide protest with over, all over China, major cities and universities from over 100 universities or more, and some said 200 universities. Students participated in the protest. Basically, people not only protest these unreasonable, harsh COVID lockdown, causing the meltdown. The national psyche has, many people said, the 1.4 billion people is being caused with this mental illness and many suicide. And but the protesters' slogans, of course, they said, no more lockdowns, but the many, especially young people, for the first time in 33 years, calling out down to the Communist Party. Xi Jinping stepped down, and basically they feel this is a political problem. This is the rotten of the core. So restricting all but vanished overnight. And the Communist Party basically said, no lockdowns and no quarantines. All the facilities are closed. All the neighborhood blockade were being removed, and even some photos showing that on the Chinese social media for those special class called white coats, kind of in the name of COVID, they wear this white coats as a symbol of unchecked, unlimited authority and power to quarantine you, to jail you, to put you there. But overnight, after the protest, when this policy was removed, even photos showing this many white coats were thrown away in dumpsters. And the casualty for this unprepared kind of after zero COVID is unlimited COVID, and cases really within a week in the big cities like the capital city of China, Beijing, or Chongqing, Shanghai, and the number of infected rose astronomically. Even in the countryside, I call my sisters, both my sisters' families, and their children's families, and my brother himself, and anyone basically that I have called and know, my classmates from high school, Christians in other cities that I know, and in communication, everyone has been infected. And they were infected with much stronger symptoms, really, than Delta or other variants. And it's almost like the rerun of the initial COVID symptoms: loss of taste, high fever, sore throat, and basically no energy, no strength at all. And then those who have underlying sickness, or even children or elderly, make the hospitals in China totally overwhelmed. They're full. And the crematoriums, basically are totally overwhelmed and filled up. And the morgues all over China are totally basically full. And people have to be waiting. Even in the most prestigious crematorium in Beijing that take care of the dead Communist Party, or Red Army, or some Communist Party retirees, they are totally unprepared and could not accommodate. That you have to basically pay 20 kind of equivalent of 20,000 US dollars as a down payment in order to cremate your loved ones. And you have to bribe the officials. So the hospitals tell patients just to bring your own bed. This is from the NBC news reports. And instead of one time to cremate one body, the remain. The different cities basically come up with their own solutions. The crematoriums cremate 10 bodies together and before even doing any cleaning. So the CCP basically sets up the loss of life as even the sets of life. The loss of life, instead of sorrow or in a tragedy, they, in their typical propaganda, and turn it as a positive. And for example, there was crematorium basically brag about and celebrate that we cremate 40 bodies one day. Usually, the in the normal speed is one day 40 cremation, and that day they proudly and pridefully brag about they cremate 400. And obviously, I mean, the Communist Party has this as a strategy to make the CCP and Xi Jinping look good in the middle of a national major tragedy. I mean, if this happens to any other country, this is a major scandal. I mean, the prime minister of president should immediately resign and repent, kneeling down to his own people. And one hospital ER room even put a red banner and said, "Oh, we broke the record celebrating the record treatment of ER patients of 5,000 per day," or something like that. So that happened in Nanjing city of Jiangsu province. So this shows the CCP basically doesn't care about whether zero COVID or a million COVID. And in some report, basically the CCP internally know that within the first 2 weeks after this reopening, the removing this zero COVID policy, in Beijing, 70% of people, citizens, got infected. And in my hometown city, then in Qingdao, I mean, every day, I mean, this is from the local CDC, local city, I mean, health official, the chief CDC director, was quoted 500,000 per day, 500,000 per day for that one city alone. Of course, after he was quoted or reported, even by the local CCP-controlled media, was immediately removed because he didn't cast a positive image for the CCP and Xi Jinping. So, and the CCP, they try to hide the figures, and they would because they changed the way of calculating of the COVID infection, and they no longer record the COVID deaths as COVID deaths. And I remember that one day the Chinese national CDC said, "Oh, we only have 3 deaths." I mean, one of a Chinese citizen said that day his own family has 2 deaths directly related to the COVID, and the whole nation only have 3 deaths. Are you kidding me? So the CCP, I mean, this is the revelation, I mean, to its worst. I mean, we of course, people know they kept lying. Lie is their profession, their talent, the gift. So now the most worrisome thing happens is, or is about to happen, is the CCP announced that from January the 8th, 2023, all the Chinese citizens are free to do international travel, tourism. They can go, and without any warning. I mean, without even giving a true data of infection rate, the variance, the basic nature of the variants to the United States, to the WHO, to the European CDC. No data at all. I mean, even the most pro-CCP General Secretary of WHO, I mean, was publicly urging China gently, face-savingly, said, "Oh, China, we need more data. Please be more transparent." And when the Italy and several other European countries, and Spain, then Australia, then France, start basically announcing restrictions or COVID test precondition requirements for the Chinese travelers after the new year. Basically, even the WHO pro-China General Secretary said, "Oh, it's understandable because China is not providing enough data." So this is, I mean, another brutal effort, I think, by the CCP, deliberately. I would think it's deliberately, just like when the Wuhan city was infected, and China has a national lockdown domestically, but sending millions, the tourists going to Rome, going to Paris, going to Brussels, going to New York City, Los Angeles, and that's how the Communist Party virus was spread all over the world. I think this is the second wave attempts collectively by the Chinese Communist Party, because they know these millions of Chinese citizens who travel after January 8th. Most of them will carry the variants of the virus. Because in Japan, after Japanese government instate this COVID test in the airport, and out of 23 infected, 22 are from China. 22 are from China. I mean, these are 96 or 99% are China. Basically, I mean, are you kidding me that China would care about the health of the world? No. I mean, it's cold-blooded as this. So I certainly understand and support this policy from the US, UK, Australia, and India, and Japan, and Taiwan to set up at least the COVID testing prior to their for the Chinese travelers, because the government was not really doing the responsible job. So the nature of these extremes is really not unfamiliar to the Chinese people. For example, the in 1980s, Communist Party said only one child is allowed per family. Then the whole nation become a slaughter ground for women, pregnant women, and the forced abortion, forced sterilization over basically 200 million Chinese children. I mean, the babies basically were slaughtered and forcibly aborted. And now, because there is a labor shortage, there's an aging problem, there is a labor production problem, the Communist Party said, no, we demolished the untitled policy, and instead they said every young family is mandated to have 3 children per family. So 3 children. So the Communist Party leaders mandated the party members, the young party members, I mean, despite of their, some hardship to raise a child, they have to set a good example by having 3 children per minimum per family. So this is the insanity, and of course, the CCP realized they had to change the course because the ramification for this one-child policy is going to destroy the Chinese economy, gender imbalance. So as Christians, we know why these changes, because of the total depravity and because of the humanity, because of the Communist Party's evil nature. And we should, everyone should pray harder and more focused that the Lord have mercy on this nation. I mean, everyone is getting COVID and without sufficient treatment. But we, of course, as Christians, we also know who is in control, who is the true sovereign, that is the Lord Jesus Christ. As Hebrews 13:3 said, Hebrews 13:8 said, Jesus Christ is the same yesterday and today and forever. So thank you for your patience, and thank you for continuing praying for the persecuted in China.
Thank you, Bob, for that report. And thank you again for tuning in and for praying for the persecuted in China. Be sure to check out our website, ChinaAid.org, for more daily recurring stories on those who are persecuted in China. Listen, in 2023, we want to invite you, to be a part of the Mayflower Church. You can adopt a Mayflower family and consider giving a monthly gift to them on our website. You're going to see the link for that here on the screen now.